This is the sanctuary or temple at Camp Etna, which is the Camp Etna Spiritualist Camp in Etna, Maine. All of the interviews that we will be doing today are the individuals' perceptions that we are talking to, and not necessarily affiliated with any spiritualist camp or any other religious or spiritual tradition. Shirly Boyens is going to be talking with us about her experience with signs from a loved one who's passed to the other side. Would you mind telling us a little bit about a little background? The loved one who gave you the signs was?
My sister Joan. She died from complications due to diabetes. And she was 66.
About what year was this? Or how many years ago, I should say?
It's just a few years ago.
Okay. So your sister Joan died from complications of diabetes, and did you say Joan?
Yes. And I didn't go to the funeral. I'd been up to see her before she died. And then I went to see her house and take something from it. Mm-hmm. And
would you describe that as kind of a goodbye?
Yes, it was my funeral, I guess, for her. And her husband, she'd always loved her husband, and he died at 42. And she had a gentleman friend that lived with her for 20 years.
After her husband passed?
After her husband passed.
Yes.
And she always loved her husband. And so I stayed at his house, and then we went to her home, which, because of the nursing home fund, has gone into foreclosure, and it was empty. So we went in, and he went looking around, and I went and sat on the floor in the living room and called her in, and she seemed very angry for me to be there, but
so you felt like she was angry at you for being in her house?
I think she wanted me to get over it.
Oh, get over your grief?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I asked her if she had anything for Bob, who was her gentleman friend, and she showed me like a little carousel with children on it, but it was very white, and it was pale, and I didn't understand it until I asked her to show me where she was or what she was doing.
So you're a medium, and she showed this to you visually. She gave you these visual images. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then she gave me the a bride and groom on a wedding cake. Mm-hmm. And they were standing there. And we left the house, and we went to where she and her husband were buried, and there were only 2 plots there. And there, my niece had placed a picture from her wedding, which was like the bride and the groom on the wedding cake.
Oh, so it was the same image that she had shown you while you were sitting on her living room floor.
Yes.
Was on her grave when you went to the grave.
The picture was
right
there.
After that.
Yep. So I understood, and I knew when she was telling me that for her friend, there was no color. It was all white. It was like it hadn't been filled in.
So the relationship with her friend didn't have the color and the fullness as the relationship with the husband did. So that's why she didn't give her friend a sign through you. Is that right?
She was just showing. Well, my understanding was she was just showing me that it wasn't a colorful memory for her.
Oh. But her marriage was.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. So,
What did you do when you saw the bride and the groom picture on her grave after just having been shown that in her house?
It was all very clear to me then. So,
Did you say, thanks, sis?
well, a friend was with me, so I didn't. But
So you didn't say anything out loud?
No, I didn't.
But you knew this was a sign.
I knew that that's what she was telling me at the house.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Did you think possibly that by showing you the picture of the bride and groom together that she was telling you she was back with her husband?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
And that there are two grave sites are right next to each other. That's the way they'd planned it. And it was probably a month after her wedding anniversary.
Oh, yes.
So my niece had placed that picture there. So.
To celebrate the wedding anniversary.
Yes.
Even though they were both on the other side in spirit by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. A remembrance from family here. Well, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Any other signs that you want to share with us from other loved ones or friends?
I guess the only other one that's really I've gotten from other mediums, but then my father died when I was 21, and he died a month before my first son was born. And later on, I was very angry with him. And he and I had a conversation, a full conversation.
Before he died?
No.
After he passed?
This is 20 plus years after he passed.
Okay.
When I really became aware that I was angry at him. I'd gotten over the grief, and once I was over the grief, I realized that I was angry. And we had a full conversation, and I was at the YMCA doing a walk-run thing, and we talked for the full hour. And
you talked to his spirit for the
yes.
full hour you were doing
Yep.
this. Yes.
Yep. And that relieved my anger. I understood. I had wanted him to stay alive to see my son, and I was angry that he didn't.
Wasn't
and
able to
that
stay.
we never had a really great relationship. So it was like I'd never done anything right. So it was a good conversation.
And that's a really good example of how signs from our loved ones or communicating with our loved ones on the other side can heal us here. By their connecting with us, we can heal that relationship. It's a really good example of that.
I also have a friend that died in Vietnam, and he comes in when I'm angry or I'm upset. I can remember being angry and upset with my second husband, and him coming in and saying to me,
His spirit coming in
and saying to me, you've gotten to have children and have a marriage and have a life.
Oh.
I didn't. So just remember that I watch you and I see and so I always think of him when I am angry about the way something comes out, that at least I got to experience it.
Whereas he didn't. Yes.
He didn't, yeah.
That's a great message.
And he would remind me every now and then. So.
That's a great message. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste,
Namaste.
Shirley.